Nabota's here. I have a really nasty cold and cough, and I hope none of you catch it, because it's murder. So, a lot of folks pointed out that the last interactive mode demo I did for the PvE portion of Arena Commander, called Vandal Swarm, was getting to be a little outdated. And the same lot of folks are under the impression that it doesn't work at all like it used to when the last video was made. Well, it does and it doesn't. Caveat A, it's alpha. Things change. This isn't criticism, it's feedback. Make of it what you will. I'd not intended my last video to be used for what it was used for. Honestly, it was a full force birdie to some feller that told me I was full of baloney when I claimed Vandal Swarm could be beaten with one hand on the mouse and my feet on the desk. But I learned a lot by making it, and have come to believe the things I initially thought were wrong, then thought maybe were right, are wrong. Interactive mode lets the player fly the ship by aiming the ship's guns if they're mounted on tiny turrets that look like pucks and are called gimbals. Interactive mode allows the player to aim the ship's weapons with a mouse cursor on the screen. Wherever the cursor is, that's where the guns point. In 1.6a, the gimbals track to the cursor very rapidly. I don't believe I've had to wait for the weapons to track before my shots headed towards the cursor after clicking on the screen. Furthermore, once the guns are aimed off-center to track to the target, the whole ship rotates towards the cursor. As the target is overtaken by the rotation and the cursor tracks the target, it comes back towards the center. This part functions something like a VJoy, which is where a mouse or a trackball emulates a joystick. If you cup the top of a joystick with your hand to move the joystick, that's basically what VJoy is. You move the mouse on the table instead of at the top of a stick, though. In this video, I'm using an IntelliPoint Explorer 3.0. That's a browser mouse. It's over a decade old, but functions like new. It's got 4 buttons and a wheel. I put 2 gimbaled M3As on an M50 and started the match. It glitched and the pilot wanted to stare at his belly button, but hitting escape to open the menu and escape to close the menu fixes that. Other than that, and X to respawn, it's all on the browser mouse. I've got nearest target, boost, strafe forward, and strafe back. Left click is fire my lasers, and with double taps I've got throttle up and down. That's it. Everything else is the same version of Arena Commander you have on your PC, unless you tinkered with stuff. Letting a mouse aim the ship's weapon and fly the ship. So essentially the mouse is doubling either as the most accurate head-pointing device never invented in a mouse and a joystick and the most accurate head-pointing device never invented, or a gamepad where one of the analog sticks is either a mouse or the most accurate head-pointing device never invented. The only thing that has really changed since last year is that I'm not clicking directly on the box anymore. Whether it's because the lead pips are broken, or if the devs have added a predictive element to engage the player beyond just clicking on a box, I don't know. But that's all that's really different since last year. Another change across the board is time to kill stuff, but that's gone up substantially for everyone. The bummer is that to emulate interactive mode, any other user needs to use at least 2 devices, and one of those devices needs to be either the most accurate head-pointing device never invented or a mouse if they want to aim the gimbals with pixel accuracy. It would also require the user emulating interactive mode a lot more interaction than interactive mode, and at least one more appendage. As you can see, interactive mode is not very interactive. It is the perfect option for someone that can't be bothered to be immersed in a space battle, though. So, this video being in the spirit of feedback, I come to caveat B. It's alpha, but interactive mode is still as interactive as it was almost a year ago. Both demos were performed in the realm of PvE, where for some percentage of users, big or small, the majority of Star Citizen will occur. But this isn't a single-player game, where this kind of control method has been used in the past and will be in the future. If you've made it this far, I'll leave you with a few questions. Is what you're seeing what you wanted out of the best damn space sim ever? Does flying a spaceship in a space battle look appealing? Does it look engaging? Is the user having a good time? Is it because the game is bad, or is it because the game has a control method incongruent with its goals? Can you imagine playing like this for years to come? How about months? Even weeks? It's alpha. Will it be like this in another year? An organization has been formed on the RSI website that seeks equilibrium for controller access to assets in the game we're all waiting for. Of myriad reasons, members of this organization find interactive mode to be the crux of the current conversation. Interactive mode, not mouse. After watching this video, if you'd like to join the conversation or add your 2 cents, I encourage you to connect with a member of the organization called Parity. As always, thanks for your time. Neb out.
I'm defeated.